I wanted to try to reassure that cardiologists are actually not like other people. Ask Peter. So I told her this tale from a younger part of my life. I was working after graduate school in Cambridge, Mass. My congressman was Father Robert Grinan, a Jesuit priest, avid chess player, and he continued to serve in Congress until the Pope at one point told him that being a congressman and being a Catholic priest were not compatible. And so he resigned. But he had a friend who was actually world class, ranked within the top 50 chess players in the entire world. Well, I went out to a conference, I believe it was in Chicago, and was presenting a scientific paper, and turns out in that same complex there was a convocation of cardiac surgeons, cardiologists meeting. And there was also a fundraiser where Father Drinan's Jesuit priest friend had challenged Bobby Fischer to a chess match to raise money. Well, as you might imagine, the cardiac surgeons decided that instead of listening to a lecture about right and left-handed stents, they would go watch the match instead, because they were both avid chess players themselves. And so they're watching the match, and if you don't remember, Bobby Fischer was considered the best chess player in the world. But he also was a master at the psychological aspects of chess, and he would just rattle the nerves of anybody playing with him. And as it turns out, those skills were on full display. Everybody was watching. And as the game came to a conclusion, the Jesuit was watching the board. All of the color drained from his face. He stood up, clutched his heart, and collapsed on the stage. Everybody thought he had fainted, but the cardiac surgeons, they knew better. They were right up onto the stage, started doing the heart massage. Because there's a big complex there, the ambulance was already there, and the EMTs came in and they brushed the cardiologist aside, picked up the guy and put him on a gurney. Well, you probably know that nobody brushes the cardiologist aside. So the two cardiac surgeons head out following these guys, and as they get in the ambulance, they move right past the EMTs. One of them starts prepping the guy, because they knew that even the short ride to the hospital would be too long. The other one grabs a scalpel from the bag, and they start to perform open heart surgery, right? In a moving ambulance in the middle of Chicago. Well, they got to the hospital. Actually, the EMTs were watching these surgeons, and they were going about precision, speed, and no nerves whatsoever. They were actually talking about the chess match. You know? Queen to bishop 4, knight takes rook, check, sponge. The surgery was a success, and the Jesuit did recover. But the EMTs were left with a reasonably messy ambulance, and they were cleaning it up, and just amazed at how calm and cool these two guys were. And that was the message to Dottie. And then the junior one turned to his mentor and said, by the way, what was that they were jabbering about while they were doing this surgery? And the mentor thought about it. Oh, that. They're chestnuts, boasting o'er an open fryer.